Well, hey everybody, I'm here at the National Hardware Show in Vegas checking out all kinds of new items, power equipment, tools, and more. Stick around for a few minutes. I'll show you some of the cool stuff I found here, and we're going to be starting off right over here. All right, guys, check it out. We are here at the Pulsar booth, and they have these new home energy storage systems. This thing here, each one of these is going to be a 5 kilowatt battery. Check that out. So everybody's starting to get into this game of basically home backup battery solutions, and Pulsar is now joining it as well with a couple different options. So this ends up being able to put out 10 kilowatts of output with a 15 kilowatt hour capacity, but check out this other storage system they have here, utilizing server rack batteries. There's 3 in here already, but this rack can hold 6. And then it has a 12 kilowatt hybrid inverter that lands on the other side of this. And this is outdoor rated, so this is meant to kind of be just outside, so you can have this on the side of your home, ready to go. And so this is just something else that's going to be, I believe, more popular. We're going to, again, see a lot more of this stuff. So obviously you've probably seen these already, but check this one out. Now, this isn't really anything too much different, but check this out. This has like a carbon fiber side panel. So I just thought this was really cool because this looks like, obviously this is dipped is all it is, but I just think it looks cool. But they're going to be selling this under the Die Hard name. So that's actually kind of interesting because it also come, I believe, with some different warranty and stuff. So pretty cool that, you know, they're just kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. I mean, now sure, relabeling is a thing that has been done for eons. It's just kind of what it is no matter what. But this is really just the item that caught my eye, is that guy. But speaking of Die Hard, they are also coming in with their own home energy storage systems. This one has a hybrid inverter as well that is 12 kilowatt output. And each one of those batteries that you see on the side there, those are also 5 kilowatt batteries. Then you're looking at a dual fuel inverter generator that can charge these up. So it's creating a system is really what we're looking at. And again, a lot of these systems are going to have, 10-year warranties. They can be charged from the grid. They can be charged from solar. So it's crazy how many people are getting into these systems. And being that it does have a Die Hard name, that's something that people know. And so that's kind of a selling point. Remember, you're looking at quality products, but you're also looking at a name that people can remember, that they know, and also that a product that hopefully something, that they can stand behind that. So hopefully we see a lot of good things coming out of this system soon. So it'll be interesting to see when we see this to market. It's not quite ready yet, but it will be soon. All right, so next up we have BE. I just wanted to show you guys something here real quick. So these guys have lots of different, types of generators. They have some power stations and more. And they have, just power equipment. But if you notice, right, there is a thing called, if it looks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. Well, if you take a look at these units, just as we looked at earlier, right, check out this here, 10,500 tri-fuel unit, right? Same thing with this guy here, 6000. But if you notice, and an easy telltale sign is if you just come down here, this little sticker right there says Dinkin Power. So BE is basically just a customer of Dinkin Power. So that's where they got these units. But they have other things as well. And, these little guys here, these water pumps are like Kohler engines and more. So we'll move on to some of the next stuff. So here at Westinghouse, they also have some new items as well, like these 4,000 watt generators. Okay, now check this out. Nobody else has had the ability to parallel and also put into series. So now if you look at it, we have the same type of connector pin that we saw earlier. So I would assume, because that's just me, knowing that a lot of things look alike and seem alike, that this is probably technology bought and used, obviously, from the same company, which would be GenMax, and they're probably utilizing this box. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't asked them, but like I said earlier. So, but these look like nice little units. These are 4,000 watts starting and 3,300 watt running, and so you do have that ability. And they do have this big item right here. Check this out, 11,000. And this is a dual fuel unit only, remote start. You do have your 50 amp plug, 30 amp plug. So they have a new line of generators as well. It looks like this little guy here is also a dual fuel unit, 4,000. That's the one we just saw. There's a 2,500 down there. And then this one here is a 7500, but this is a tri-fuel unit. So this guy here also has 120 and 240 volt that'll give you your 30 amp outlet and also your 1450 amp outlet. So this one here does look like it has a battery charger as well. 120 and 240 volt switch, digital readout display. You do have parallel capability as well. So this is a new item. So this is kind of nice, bigger size. So it'll be interesting to see. And it looks like these guys here, look at this on the side. Those are LED lights right there. So that's kind of cool. You have something to kind of light up. This thing starts right out. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? All right, checking out the Champion booth. They have a whole new line of stuff finally. I've been waiting for some new products. We'll check it out. Let me show you what they have. Okay, so we have kind of a redesign of the 2500 dual fuel. Always been a good generator. Now, I didn't say this earlier about the Westinghouse products, but they use the Dakar line of engines across all of their stuff. When it comes to Champion, they're still using the Ratto line, which is a good line of engines. Those are popular across a lot of stuff. They even use those for kart racing and more. If you've ever seen kart racing, the Ratto engine is one of the popular ones that they'll use. Now the 2500 is still utilizing the 80cc engine. This has always been really a great brand. One thing that, if the onboard regulator is inside, you see this? This is an onboard regulator. Then you have your propane regulator right here. Now since this is outside of the generator, you'll need this if you want to run it off of your RV, off the onboard tanks. If this was inside of the unit and you had this little spigot right here, then you wouldn't need that up there because it would already be mounted inside, right? So that's one thing that's nice. If the onboard regulator or demand regulator was inside the generator, it just makes it a little easier for RV conversions, but you just have to do a little switching up there. It's not terribly hard, but this has always been a good RV unit. People like this one. I like this one. As far as its compact size, this has always been the size I try to go for because they're easy to manage. Now this is actually new for Champion, is this 4,000 watt unit. This one is dual fuel, and this is utilizing a 149cc Ratto engineering engine in it. And so this is going to have 4,000 starting watts and 3,000 running watts on gasoline, and then it'll be 2,700 watts running on propane. So compact design again, which is nice because I like these styles, at least for the stuff that I do when it comes to the RV world, right? Easy to store, easy to lift and manage, and this is kind of what you want, is something that can just run an RV AC unit that's like a 15K, right? Because this is the size most people can manage that's not too heavy. You get to the bigger Predator or, you know, the 4500 Champion, you then start getting into stuff that's a little bit harder to lift and manage, which Champion does have a new larger unit. Okay, now this unit here, which is actually kind of cool, this 6,500 start and 5,000 running, but this generator, even though it's only a gasoline engine, they are looking at coming out with a dual fuel, possibly tri-fuel, but this is also 120 and 240 volt inverter generator. All of these generators right here we're going to look at real quick. These are going to be inverter generators. Now this puts out 5,000 running watts, and you get the 120 or 240 volts, so you get 20 amps per leg, 20.8 if you want to be specific as we get down here a little bit closer. It does have carbon monoxide as far as those shields. All of them are coming now with a carbon monoxide detector. That's pretty much standard. You just can't even get away from that. But if you are looking at the 120 volt plug and 30 amps, this can provide a max of about 42. I think it's 41.7 is what it said on the sticker. So nice that they have this, and it will be coming out again as either dual fuel or tri-fuel soon, so that's nice. Now this generator has actually been out for a little while now. This is an 8,500 start, but it is a dual fuel unit, so you get 7,000 watts running on gasoline, and you get 6,300 running on propane. And this is 120 and 240 volt. And one thing that's kind of cool is that this is kind of a cross hybrid, at least that's kind of I call it, mainly because the generator is an enclosed frame / open frame. So if you notice this one here being a fully enclosed frame inverter generator, this one here is also an enclosed frame inverter generator but partially open, but this allows it to have a larger fuel cell versus this one over here being an enclosed frame completely, it doesn't have as much room to have a large fuel box in it. So this fuel cell is going to be able to hold more fuel for extended run time. So kind of nice when it comes to kind of this hybrid design. So a lot of people have liked this. There's a couple other models and brands out there, they kind of have this kind of a configuration. But if you are looking for extended run times and you want an inverted generator that is quiet, this is not a bad option. So now we do have this big new unit. Now this is a big dual fuel 120 and 240 volt generator with 11,000 starting watts. So 11,000 starting watts on this unit, 9,000 running watts, and then I believe it's 8,100 on propane. Don't, correct me if I don't remember, but there's a lot of information to keep up on. This has 459 cc engine, and these little louvers that are on the outside are like this kind of a checkerboard type side panel. This is actually going to change. The guy said, yeah, we're already redesigning that. Didn't quite look how he wanted it. So now this does have 120 240 volts, and you get your 50 amp plug, your 30 amp plug. Very basic, simple design. Manual choke on this guy. Your propane inlet down there. You do have a manual fuel gauge up on the top, which, sometimes just the manual stuff, even the manual choke, right? Those are just things that kind of tend to always work. It's real easy. You don't have to worry about things kind of like servo motors and stuff going out. So sometimes basic is good. But one thing that is cool is this guy. So this here, you pop this little guy off and you get yourself a serviceable air filter that's super easy. And you have your pre-filter on the outside and a cartridge air filter that is on the inside. So this is really easy to service. And honestly, that's actually pretty cool because, you can pick up cartridge air filters all over the place. So kind of a cool design that they did with that. Now we do have some open frame tri-fuel units over here, which that's kind of cool. They have some tri-fuels, so that's good to see them expand into that. These are all 120 and 240 volt, these bigger ones anyway. This one here is a 10,000 and 8,000 running watts or 7,000 on propane. But then check out the beast over here on this guy. This is 15,000 start watts and 12,000 on gasoline. And this is a tri-fuel unit. Now, if you are going to be running on natural gas, you're only going to get about 10,000 watts out of this unit versus 12,000 if you're running on gasoline. But nice big open frame, 120 and 240 volt. All right, check this out, guys. I'm at Duromax checking out their new generators. They have a new line of inverters and a first that I have ever seen. I haven't seen one like this before in any product line, so check this out. This is a brand new unit, and so are those two. We'll check them out here in just a second, but I want to show you this right now. That way you guys can check it out. Look at this DC output for DC charging. This is going to be crazy because this is going to allow you to charge up your home battery backup system. So if you have server rack batteries, EcoFlow power kits, Blue Eddy, and more, if you're inside of this charging limit, this is going to be able to do 52 volts at 10 amps. This is going to allow you to charge up a whole bunch of stuff through DC. That means all of your functions in your power stations and more are going to be able to still work if you're not getting enough power input from solar if it happens to be dark outside, which this is also going to be more efficient. So this is pretty cool. I'm glad I stopped by their booth. I didn't know if they were going to have really much that is new, but this is totally cool. So we'll go over some more features on this. So this one does have your 120 and 240 volt and a 50 amp outlet, your 1450. You do have a 1430 as well, and then a couple 20 amp plugs. You can parallel it, automatic start, remote start as well. You get your control center up here, all digital. And this is a dual fuel unit. All of these units we're going to look at today are going to be dual fuel, and we'll kind of take a little bit more of a look at this. Now this is 11,000 watts and 9,000 running on gasoline, or 8,550 running on propane. I'll give you some more of the specs that are on the back of this. It does have the carbon monoxide detector and more. And then you have a pull start that's going to be over here. This is going to utilize a 459 cc engine, and we'll kind of come down here and give you a little look at some more of the specs on this. So you look over here, 37.5 per leg at 240 volts, and then this is a 58 volt DC output. Let me get a little closer here so you guys can see this. So this is pretty cool that they have this. I mean, I haven't been seeing this on anybody's other products yet, and I've been looking for it because people have talked about it, but it's just not there yet. So again, there's your specs: 11,000 start,
9,000 running on this. This will be a 459cc engine. Now they do use Sensi Motors is the brand that they use. Remember we talked about earlier that Champion will use a Ratto engineering engine and that Westinghouse uses the Dakar models. And so everybody kind of has their own little brand that they like to kind of go with. And that's the stuff that Duromax uses. Now, one thing with Duromax too is that you guys may not know with this brand, and a lot of people ask, is that, okay, well, what is their warranty? Well, they have good warranties. They have a 5-year warranty. They also have over 500 service centers that you can be able to get these serviced at, not to mention parts that you can get as well. So that's a big selling point when it comes to this brand, is that the service centers, you really can't find that on a lot of other brands out there. So that's one of the strong selling points when it does come to the Duramax line. Now this one here is their XP 9500 versus the XP 11000. This is the only one right now with the DC out. But they said they are going to be doing DC out on more lines. So this one here, also utilizing a 459cc engine. This one's going to have a total of 31.6 amps, or double that for 120 volt. And if you also notice too, look at the RPM on this, only 3,400 RPM. So it runs a lower RPM, which that's actually kind of good because that does conserve fuel. And this one will also have the 120 and 240 50 amp plug. That's going to be your 1450. It also comes with the 1430 and a couple 20 amps. This one here is almost exactly identical as to the XP 11000 over there, just a little bit smaller. They both have battery tenders, which is nice, so you can keep these plugged in constantly while you're not using them at home. That way they're always ready to go. Let's see, this is your selector switch over here, LP coming in. And so if you guys didn't know, that one of the other options that this has, or at least one of the technology or features, is that this has smart switch technology. So if you happen to run out of gas and propane is connected, it will automatically switch over to that, and vice versa. So if you have propane and you do have fuel inside your tank and the propane runs out, it automatically switches to gasoline side. So pretty cool that no matter what, you're kind of always consistently running. That way if one of them runs out, you can still continue to run. Now, as we move to one of the smaller inverter generators they have, this is a brand new XP 7000, so more of a portable unit. You can utilize this in your RV if you want something a little bit smaller. This one here is going to be electric start, remote start. Now, so this one does have 120 and 240 out, but it only has a 240 volt outlet, so we just use an adapter to go from like a L1430 to like a L530 twist lock, and then you would get your 120 out of that. You have a couple of 20 amp plugs there, which these are going to have GFIs already protected on it, onboard charging. So, or at least that's for home charging, you know, just like the other one. And again, it does have your smart switch technology as well. So it'll automatically switch. And again, these guys do have 5-year warranties on their generators, which is really nice. And of course, we do have the beast, the XP 16000. This guy is just huge, big old dual fuel. You have a couple of 50 amp plugs right there in the front. And again, this thing just puts out a ton of power. So if you're looking for, you know, your home backup systems to be able to run like your AC at home, or if you're doing the food trucks and more, the big race trailers and that, this could be something that'll definitely fit your needs. It's not going to be your cheaper option for sure, but it definitely has the power if you need it. And of course, they do have their XP 1300. This is their tri-fuel unit, which I think this is really their only tri-fuel unit. And they do have a whole other line of generators, smaller ones, all the way much smaller than that over there, like a 2300, I believe, inverter to a 45 and more. So definitely a lot of lines, and I think you will see more of these on the channel in the coming future. So especially that DC model over there, that's gotten me excited. That'll be an exciting thing to see for a lot of us who like to be able to charge up home battery backup systems and more. So, all right, moving on. And Duromax is even coming out with their own little battery power stations, if you want to call them, or solar generators. This one's just a little XP 2000, so kind of cool. Has a whole bunch of outlets on it, even a 30 amp over here. So now this is not available yet that I know of, but I think it's going to be coming out, and then we'll have all the specs of that. So kind of cool. I mean, it's got some, you know, wireless chargers on top and definitely a lot of outlets and stuff. So they're getting into the power station game as well, which they're also going to be coming out with more. And they said that these can parallel with, you know, their generators as well, like some of the other units that you do see out there. So it gives you kind of that option of utilizing both your generator and a power station. But okay, moving on. All right, guys, so this is a new brand of solar generator that's probably going to be coming to market soon. This is Marstex solar generators. And this is really kind of geared for the construction base. So you'll be able to throw this like in your construction trailer. It's actually meant to be outside. It is rated to be in all weather conditions. And I wanted to show you this here real quick, just to give you an idea on specs. This is over 5,000 watt hours of energy, so this is 5,120 watt hours of energy that is inside here, and it's able to hold up to 7,500 watts of solar through each one of these solar inputs. So each one of these is a little over 1,850 watts of solar. You have your shut off right here, so you got your disconnect, a breaker. This is for extra battery ports, so you can actually put more batteries in parallel and kind of link these all up. You get your L1450, L1430, a couple 20 amp plugs as well. But this is really supposed to kind of start taking over that construction market. They built this with that in mind, to be able to be outside in the weather and to really be able to get beat up and stuff. So this is something I guess is going to be coming to market in about the next couple months. So hopefully, maybe we might even see something like this on the channel. That way you guys can get an idea if this is something that's going to be able to be utilized for you, because there's a whole world of construction out there that is looking for stuff like this, that I think this is going to start to fill a void, and we're going to see more of this, and maybe I will be able to get one of these on the channel. They do have some smaller lines as well over there, but this is an interesting piece for sure, being that it is this big and the power out. Hopefully we see this soon, but moving on. All right, guys, well, I just happened to be walking by Zendor's booth, and remember we were talking about DC charging. Now, of course, they have their whole line of stuff that they're coming out with, that they're still bringing to market, your big, giant super base Vs. But what I did notice is this smart generator over here. So check this out. Since we were talking about DC charging, and when it comes to the Duromax brand, right? Well, look at this. Look at what we have here. A DC 48 volt to 60 volt, 30 amp out. Now, it does come with their cable, but they do have an adapter, and the adapter would just be basically an MC4 connection, or you could just probably cut off the connector ends and then do, you know, maybe an Anderson connector. That way you could charge up your battery bank if you're not using the Zendor stuff or whatever it is you want to use. So I think, like I was saying earlier, we're going to see a lot more generators now coming out that is going to have these DC capabilities, which is cool. And this is a dual fuel unit. Let's see if we can find some information on this thing real quick for you guys. So, okay, so here we go. 3,000 watts on AC is 3,600, 48 to 60 on the. I'll give you guys the specs here so you guys can see it. And so what I'm wondering is, because I like to know who's actually making it, you know, what brand engine and such, has a manual choke down there, just so you guys can see. But curious as to who is the engine manufacturer, right? Who did they go with? That's the stuff I like to know. Is it one of the name brands we talked about earlier, or is it something else that, you know, we've never heard of, or is it maybe something they're even making in-house? So again, the DC charging stuff is going to get real popular now with all this home battery backup systems, and obviously with the RV stuff and more. It's going to become a lot more popular to see this. So pretty impressed that this unit just happened to catch my eye, because I almost just walked right by it. Okay, check out this place. This is Wattbricks Power Solutions, and these two units down here is what caught my eye. This one does have 120 and 240 volt as well, so it does have a lot of features in it. I'm not even sure what this is. This is actually something I've never seen. What do we got here? Oh, this is a remote storage is what that is. That's where you would store that. So, all right, so I just wanted to show you these real quick. We'll just run through it. Now, this has a 3,600 watt inverter at a 7,200 max, with a 30 amp outlet down here. Now, I know you're thinking kind of maybe, you know, kind of Delta Pro-ish, right? But also check this out. You can't really see it too much, but I'll swing it around here for you while they're not looking. But you have solar input, and this is where, you know, a lot of people have been messing up. These guys did it right. They have an Anderson in, which you can just get an adapter for MC4. But when you look on the specs of this, This has a 25 amp input rating for solar at 12 to 150 volts. So this allows a max of 1500 watts of solar coming in. So it gives you another option now for another type of power station that kind of has those specs that a lot of people are wanting, because when you see other power stations out there that are, 60 volts, it makes it very difficult to be able to put solar panels in because you want to use residential panels. So these guys kind of did it right the first time. Instead, they actually listened to the industry. Instead of doing like a 60 volt limit or even an 80 volt limit, by doing 150 volts in, that allows you to, charge it much quicker. So they also have another unit over here. This one is their, this is a larger unit. So this one here has a 6,000 watt inverter, max 12,000 watt, but it also has 120 and 240 volt outlet right on the front, and you don't have to parallel another one with it. That gives you 240 volt out of one unit. It'll also come with an L5 30 twist lock plug for a 30 amp outlet, and then you have some 20 amp outlets as well. And this one has the same solar input, so it seems like the MPPT charge controller is going to be exactly the same as that smaller unit over there, with a 150 volt limit on your solar input and 25 amps in, and that'll give you that 1500 watts of solar. But they said you can hook up, now each one of these, sorry, I forgot to tell you, is that this is a little over 3,000 watt hours, and then you can hook up another battery right there, and you can do 4 batteries onto one unit. So that'll give you basically a 15 kilowatt system out of this, and you can utilize even an EV charger that they have. So kind of cool to see other brands coming out with stuff, because this gives you more options. So and these guys have actually been around for a little bit, but they do have another line of smaller ones over there as well. So it's cool to see more options coming to the industry, because more options, more competition, lower prices. So definitely cool to see this. So maybe might even get that on the channel. All right, stopping off at AI Power, we also have a new generator from them. This is a new EFI unit, and this one here, their GXS, this 14,000 is a dual fuel model as well. It also has a new EFI technology with a 550cc engine open frame. This one does have 120 and 240 volt as well, so it does have a lot of features in it. I'm not even sure what this is. This is actually something I've never seen. What do we got here? Oh, this is a remote storage is what that is. That's where you would store that. So we do have this AI powered GXSL 5500. This one here, I like the fact that some of these still turn lower RPMs, 2600 to 3800 RPM. For me, I do like that, just because being a motor guy, I like the fact that it turns lower RPMs, because less revolutions per minute typically means the motor is going to last longer. I know there's a lot of high performance motors coming out that are turning 4800 RPM, but still, even at those speeds, you're going to wear stuff out a little bit quicker. You're also going to burn more fuel. So I do like the lower RPMs. And this is a small unit. It's pretty compact, as to opposed to this is 5500 start, right? And 4500 running. But if you think about it, if you were to get a generator of that size, like the Champion 4500, it's quite a bit bigger. And AI Power, they do have a lot of different models that are pretty compact. I mean, even this one being a 3450 running, you do have a lot of other options that they have that are just compact models. But then you also get into a couple of these big boys if you're needing some serious power. I mean, look at that, 16,500 on that guy, and this one's 11,400. And these do come with that auto switch technology that, switches from gasoline to propane or propane back to gas, depending on which one runs out. So as we take a look at this one, it does have a L1450. You do have a L1430 and L530 as well. A couple parallel ports, some DC outs. These little guys down here look like lights. That's kind of what those guys look like. And then you do have a charging port so you can keep the battery charged. This looks like a really nice rugged handle. This is pretty nice. This is actually, the mechanism is just better on this. This feels like a billet aluminum. I don't know if that's, yeah, it could be potted metal. Feels like billet almost to me. And so as we come back over here again, look, 2600 to 3600 RPM. It's hard to see that, but I do, again, like the lower RPMs. That's kind of where it used to be. It helps with fuel efficiency, not running so much RPM, but this one does have a lot of power, 120 and 240 volt out with a max of 75.8 amps. Definitely a little bit of a bigger unit, but obviously this isn't going to be for everybody. And it even looks like there's a little extra handle back here. So if you do have to lift this, that's actually not a bad idea right there. Gives you a little extra ability to lift it. But check this out. This is a tri-fuel unit. So now you get all three options, which is nice to see. More people moving to that. Has the little light. You got your L1450 plugs, L1430, L530. So definitely a lot of plug-in options. And being, let's see our specs here, it looks like 10,650 on natural gas, and then 12,000 on propane, 13,300 running on gasoline. So ultra lightweight inverter generator. Well, you know, it is big. I can't imagine it's super lightweight. And again, rated RPM at 3,600 RPM right there, so kind of nice. I'd imagine this generator has got to weigh about, well, almost 300 pounds because it is huge. So I mean, you can call it lightweight, I guess, but it's still going to be heavy. Looks like some nice hard rubber wheels, so it should be able to roll around the shop, or depending on the type of item you're using this for, at home backup or more. But this should have enough power definitely to start your home AC units. But I've always liked the AI Power brand. They've always had nice stuff. I wouldn't mind reviewing a few more of their items on here. Now, if you're wondering about the AI generators, now they do have a 3-year warranty on these, and they also have service centers too that are throughout the United States, and they do have a couple or a few in Canada. I didn't get an exact number, and you can buy parts. They are kind of, I think they said Fontana, California is where their parts warehouse is. So other than that,
let me know what you thought was the most interesting, and I'll try to get it on the channel, and I hope to see you in the next video.